and I'm going to press start streaming. So this is like ages afterwards. And hopefully it's gone live, because it's not going to tell me it's gone live until right now. So good morning, I'm Matt, and welcome to today's RC Coffee Chat. I hope you can hear us nice and loud and clearly. Those of you which are on the live version, can you do me a favour and just pop a message in the comments and let me know if it's working all okay this morning. Right, what do we have on the topics list for you this morning? Number one, we have an introduction and a little bit of housekeeping this morning as well. We'll get to that in just a moment. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate that. And Lauren too. We will be talking about the giveaway winners as well. We'll find out what the giveaways were in a few moments' time and who the winners were as well. We'll be chatting about the Sidewinder. The community has voted. We'll get to that one in a minute. We have some new foam in the orifice. We've got an update on the Harrier, and today's main feature of today's RC Coffee Chat for you is your questions answered. So there was a thread which I put in the Facebook group, and we'll be going through the questions which you asked, and I'll be giving you my answers to them. Now, there is one tiny little bit of housekeeping here, which is that you may be new to these RC Coffee Chats. Now, to give you an idea, we're episode 199. We normally, I say normally in inverted commas, run these every single Wednesday at 6 AM UK time. Obviously, that changes depending on where you are in the world. I do my best to run these every single week. Last week, I've got to be honest with you, I felt like absolute rubbish all week, and I just frankly couldn't really get off to do anything. So we did skip last week. So normally, and I'm trying to get myself back into a good routine. So we're also talking about housekeeping. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pop this across, change the screen on here, and I've done it the wrong way around. And let me just make this point as well. It came up from a couple of questions or comments which I had in the Facebook group over the last couple of days. It's like, Matt, how can we get notified when you've got episodes coming out or new videos coming out? And the thing is that if I click on that, gets rid of that. On the right hand side, you can see over there's a bell icon which is just hiding above my head, just there. Okay, so this is Andrew Newton's channel, and now I've got my hand up. The reason why I'm showing you Andrew's channel is because when I click on the bell icon, I only get occasional updates. Now, that's not what I want for Sir Newton's channel. I want all. So every time Andrew posts a video, I'd like to get notified that there's an update. So I'm now going to press save on there. So if you want to get updates, obviously do the same thing over on my channel. Of course, if you're on Sir Andrew Newton's channel, you might want to do the same there as well. So like I said, a little bit of housekeeping here this morning. So let's go back to let's go to a full screen for this one. Giveaway winners. Now, if you didn't know this, is that over the past day or two, a couple of models have been put up as giveaways in the Facebook group, and I can announce the winners this morning. The first winner is, and again, we'll message you later on today. So if you hear your name called out, don't panic. We'll message you on Facebook later today to get your address so we can send that out to you. Jeff Duncan. Now, this one is a little bit controversial. It is actually Austin Clark has won himself an S800. And I can tell you why Austin won an S800. Is because he was there was a photo, and there's just a burnt out aeroplane, full size aeroplane with prop and stuff all over the shop. And H just like, she swore. She said, "What the was that?" And then I didn't let her know that I actually fly with Austin over at the Funny Farm. She didn't know, so I asked her that. So do you know who Austin is? She said no. And well, who's one of the lads we should fly with? Oh, all right. Do you want me to take him? No. So he stayed in. So Austin's won an S800. And Leslie Compton. So Leslie, I'm not too sure if you're a bloke or a woman. Now that sounds daft because Leslie is a name which goes both ways. I've known Leslie as female and I've known Leslie bloke. So Leslie will be in touch with you later on this morning. Now, if you didn't win in the giveaway, don't panic. I have another Micro Sky Munter, a brand new in a box, waiting to go to potentially you. I also have a Zod Orbit Wing as well, and a pair of EV100 goggles, and I've got a little chuck glider thingy, not completely crap one. It is a Sky Dancer as well to get given away at some point as well. That was a freebie which was sent to me over a year ago, and it's time that it gets cleared out. So those will be given away in the Facebook group, not on YouTube, in the Facebook group only in the next couple of days as well. So Austin, happy days. You've won yourself an S800. I've just seen him on the chat, and I like I said, I did check with the missus afterwards. Do you know who Austin is? She said no. So that was good enough for me. So happy days on that one. Topic number 2 is the Sidewinder. So those of you which have been underneath a rock for the past couple of weeks, the Sidewinder has... I've just seen the comment on that. Trees will be levelled. You've been under a rock for the last week, 2 weeks. The Sidewinder has been released. Absolutely schizo model. I did get it out so we could have a little chit chat about it this morning. Just gonna plonk that over there out of the way. What have I put on here in my notes? It's mental fast. That is up there with one of the fastest, not the fastest model I've ever flown in a straight line on the level. Now, obviously, I've done about 100 and something, 60, 70 miles an hour in the mini track, but that was a really tall height. Jam it towards, point it towards China, and then just pull out at the bottom and power on through. And we've done some crazy speeds for that. But that one, in a straight line, is well over 100 miles an hour. I will put the GPS sensor in it as well, so we can see how fast it really is going. So they're absolutely bonkers. Now, there is one little comment which I want to pick up, and I posted it in the Facebook group this morning, that snow is forecasted. Now, this is, I saw Tony from Vortex talking about this, is that you don't get to see all the comments which are posted on these YouTube channels, and some of them are absolutely shocking. They really are. Now, I didn't point this one out on here. Hi, I'm about to order one, and it's my first ever RC plane wing. So somebody wants to buy a Sidewinder as a wing, and then there's a note. I can't reply on that. That would be a horrifically bad choice for a first RC model. It doesn't make any sense what he says there at all. Go for a AXN Cloud Surfer, which is, I know many of us here have been on and learnt with. And I just didn't get the guy's responses at all. So I just want to give you that kind of insight to some of the stuff which goes on in the background, which you don't ever see. I do pick out some of the funnier ones and do post them in the Facebook group, especially when they're especially funny like that one. I give my old Lipos the dog to play with. But there's some special characters out there. The Sidewinder is not a first wing. It's more like a 4th, 5th model, at least, because it does fly so stupidly fast. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Anyway, Shaky Footage. Yeah, now you may have noticed on the FPV Maiden and the in-flight footage is that it's quite shaky. Now, that's one thing which I want to quickly just point and put to bed, is that the FPV feed is perfectly fine, absolutely fine, because the camera's glued into the airframe, and it's not the airframe which is bouncing. What is bouncing is this top cover up here, because it's only 2 little plastic clips, pointy bits in there, which are holding it down, and the magnets aren't that great, because they've both come unstuck. So that's the reason why it's bouncing around. And let's face it, it's doing 100 miles an hour in the sky, so any tiny bit of wind turbulence is going to cause it reason to bounce. What was the other one? Oh, I will be laminating the bottom of the Sidewinder. I've noticed that there has been some nicks underneath, and I will be getting some bigger around 2200 milliamperes high C batteries as well in the next week or two, because that thing just absolutely mullers the batteries. And as we found out we may have probably already seen, is that it just eats batteries for a pastime. Right, and I can see on what's going on there in the chat. So, Brian says, "Is it heavy?" I presume this is the the Sidewinder which you're talking about. No, not at all. Really, it's really quite light. It's not heavy at all. Especially if you consider it's not like a normal EPP wing, which has then been laminated and got 10 tons of glue stuck in it. It is light for what it is, to say the least. So. Yeah, good question as well. Right, moving on. The community, you have voted. And what have you voted? Apparently, shock horror in the Facebook group. I put a poll up. This is democratic as I could make it. Are multi-rotors crap? Place your vote now. Now, 59 of you have voted that multi-rotors are crap. I gave you 2 options. I don't see what the issue is. And I hope you appreciate my sense of humour. Right, moving on. Let's get into Shout Out Corner. This is my favourite part of the day. This is where I get to say good morning to all of you. And it's not a rigged poll, Lauren. Let's not be slanderous here at all. I just sincerely hope you understand some of my sense of humour from time to time. Good morning, Anad and L. Good morning, Lauren. Good morning, Zenith as well. Scrolling down, good morning, Junior, Magnus, Sipler, Andrew, Mr. Bolton, Brian, good morning, Alex, good morning, Randy, Roddy, good morning too, Austin, good morning, Riff, good morning, I haven't seen you in ages, Riff, good morning, sir, well, should I say good evening, because it's quite late over there with you. Good morning, Samantha as well, scrolling down, good morning, Brian, Sean, good morning too. Now, if I have been and missed your name, I do apologise. I've just missed it in the list, that's all. Right, what was our next topic? Oh, new foam. Who doesn't like some new foam in the morning? And this foam I actually kind of like. I like it so much, I kind of didn't actually do an unboxing video on it because I kind of looked in the box and went, oh, I kind of like that one a lot, and I've already got it out and I've already glued it up. I'm sorry, don't judge. Excuse me, I have issues holding not only with foam but also holding my coffee in. I do apologise. It's called a free wing, and it's here, and oh, that's doing wonders for the white balance. Brilliant. I have an L9R, which has already been put in the wing. I have hole for a video transmitter in the other one. That's definitely not a GPS puck on there either. That really has screwed with the white balance, hasn't it? And I've definitely not started putting the wiring in it either. They do show this one on the Banggood website as adding landing gear, but mine didn't come with landing gear, which is frankly probably a very good idea, to say the least. It did have the strangest... Well, I say strangest, it did, it's like I've got a key mechanism. Let me just put this on there so you can see. Find something to point at it with a pen. You'll see up here on the wing, there is a key mechanism to join the 2 wings together. And if I turn it round, you'll see that there's a big fat one. Dropped out and landed already. There's another big fat key underneath as well. And that did work kind of well. But there's a few holes in the joint. I don't think the wings are going to fall off, but I will be poking some other glue down there to make sure that they're stuck on. Huge, great big battery bay. To the point, and I didn't bring it over, so you're going to have to excuse me. I'm just going to go and run and grab them. As you may have noticed on Instagram, is that, whatever I've done with it, is that I have started posting an awful lot more now over on Instagram. And you may have seen this battery pack being made up, which is a 3200 mAh Lion pack. Because as soon as I pulled the lid off the fuselage, that was it. It was in my head. We were doing a Lion pack and taking all the parts out of the the Wing Z84, which I've had here for ages, which I haven't flown for ages, and I've taken the INAV parts out of that one, and that's a 3200 4S pack. Which is going to be sat in the nose. You'll also see even back there, I've been putting the mounting point for the INAV, the F4 flight controller. As far as the motor goes, I will be putting, well, currently I've got a BR2208 motor, 1100 kV, but I am a little bit worried if that's going to have enough power on there or not. So we'll see. As far as that motor goes, because I can swing an 8-inch prop on there, so I might actually end up with an 8-inch slow flight propeller on there, because and you may have noticed with the Lion packs, I'm after endurance with this one, so we'll see how she does. So I'll keep you updated with this one. I'm in the Facebook group and over on Instagram as well. So yeah, just a little bit of wiring to get done today, and she'll be ready. And I know somebody will ask about what are you going to laminate it. The answer is probably yes. I am going to laminate it. It's EPO foam rather than EPP, and it does feel a bit soft. And again, you've seen the places where I fly, so and it needs a little bit of extra strength. Now, let's get that one back. That was, yeah, it's a free wing. Oh, it has this really odd nose cone thingy on the ends, which I don't really understand why. So what I'm going to be doing on mine is gluing that piece back in and then cutting it out to put a Runcam Mini Swift in its nose. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Again, it's got a decent sized battery bay on there. Now, it does show it on the Bangor website as having landing gear. You'll see that it's got wheels and stuff underneath it, which is... I don't understand why you would do it. But it was pretty cheap. I think I paid about $40 for it. So, and it's out of stock at the moment. Apologies. It's kind of been bought up. I bought one. Did post it in the Facebook group at the time, I think. Yeah, 28th of April. Should be in stock in the next couple of days' time. So, yeah, not too bad. So, yeah, Lauren, it's been out for about 2 weeks, something like that. Happy days on there. Lauren, I am genuinely after underpowering that wing just to try and keep the flight efficiency up, because I'm after extended flight time. So if you think about the Nano Talon, I run that with a 3,500 milliamp Lion pack, and the longest which I've got to is about 45 minutes, and I landed because frankly I was bored. So if I can get anywhere like that with this one, I will be super impressed. So looking at it, it's, and again, oh, good morning, Chris, by the way, just I forced 2D in the chat. Looking at it, it's a lot of wing for its money. And the other thing which, you'd have to excuse me, let me just leave that on the desk. The comparison which I want to make is that the Z84 was always the one which I'd set up for some decent endurance flying. And then, of course, the Nano Talon turned up. Now, the thing with the comparison which I want to make is that about wing loading is that if I put these side by side and try not to land this on my keyboard, is that this one's got a meter wingspan. So if I put this around that way, that will give you, the fuselages are almost exactly the same now. So you've got a longer wing. So the wing loading for the models like for like, because it's a bigger wing, it's going to be less. So you the same kind of weight, you're not putting so much stress on the actual airframe itself. I think that's the short version. So that's why it grabbed my attention. So, and that's why I literally feel so guilty. I didn't do an unboxing. I just opened the box and it looks so cute. And then next thing I had a wing out on the desk, and then I had the other wing out, and then I stuck them together and go, oh wow, I could nickel the stuff out of the Z84. And then before I knew it, I kind of glued the wings on and cut out holes and stuff, and was here working on yesterday. So apologies for no unboxing on that one. Just give you a quick rundown. 1 meter wingspan, no landing gear, lock-in wing sections, do like that, but I do need to add extra glue to mine. We'll be running it with a 1100 kV motor with an 8-inch prop on 4S, maybe a slow fly prop on that one. It will be a Lion pack, which is 3,200 milliamp, which I made up yesterday. Photos are on the Instagram account. And I will be running it with iNav 5.8 VTX and an L9R in it as well. So yeah, kind of impressed with that one. Brian says, Matt, it's your fault I have a Z84 sitting in the box being saved. Thank you for enabling. Oh, don't get me wrong, the Z84 is one of the best, there's bits of foam just falling out, is one of the best models ever made. And I genuinely believe that. It's one of those versatile models which you just can't go wrong with. This one will get its holes patched up, and I'll put a proper motor in the back, and I mean proper motor in the back, and you'll see it out on the flight line very shortly. Great fun. Absolutely great fun. And good morning, Bernie, as well. Austin says, the only landing gear I have on wings is hedges and trees, and I can attest to that one as well. And good morning, Mark, as well. Right, next topic, Harrier update. So those of you who know about the Harrier, I've flown it with a Vector in there. It was great. You wouldn't expect anything less from having an Eagle Tree Vector in it. One curiosity takeaway is that it would fly for 10 amps at 50 miles an hour. So I think that's pretty good. If you compare that to the Mini Talon, which does 40 miles an hour for 4 amps, obviously 2 motors, less efficient, but it really did like to fly at 50 miles an hour for 10 amps. I really, those motors, which I was using them, it was just great fun with those motors. Now, that's the point. It was great fun with those motors for the things which I was doing with it. To be honest, I've got other models which I can use for FPVing and need a vector in them, in short. The Harrier doesn't. It's just super stable. So to give you a heads up, I have already taken the Eagle Tree Vector out of the Harrier and it's going to go into another model very, very shortly. Now, that brings us on to your questions answered. So I'll tell you what, let's go and get this up on the screen. Like I said, I put a question in the Facebook group on the 23rd, so 2 days ago, saying, do you have any RC questions that you'd like to answer in this week's RC Coffee Chat? And please post below. And there were lots of questions coming in, and I'll do my best to answer them. Now, the first one is one which I actually asked myself. Do you think Sir Bruce will end up blowing himself up with the hydrogen bomb if he continues? I think Bruce might be alright, but Ron, his days are numbered. Jesus. And if you've got no idea, go and check out Sir Bruce's channel. Absolutely nuts. And fair dues to him for making a point too. And next one is from Sven. I saw you bought an RC Sparrow. Could you give a short review? I can't give you a short review on the Sparrow because I've not actually put it in a model, or either of those in a model just yet. Do look out for that in the near future, because if they are rubbish, you will find out about that very quickly. And again, it doesn't really help that I also bought 2 Eagles at the same time, so it is going to be a very unfair comparison. So yeah, be fun. And maybe I've missed it. Do you still have the 46-inch wing? How did it fly? I do have the 46-inch Wild Thing. It's sat just there. You can see it's over there. Again, because we got a giveaway on that one very shortly as well. So it is there, and it did fly very well. It's just sat in a huge, great big pile of editing episodes to get edited. As many of you may have worked out, I hate editing videos, hence why we do lots and lots of live stuff, because there's no editing required. So I will get around to that one very shortly, and we will be doing a giveaway for that one as well. Excuse me. This is a brilliant question. So Sean's question, this actually came up a few times, not only within the Facebook group, but it also came up in the comments on a couple of the videos as well. Which is basically, Matt, how do you choose which motors and props and ESCs to go for? And that was covered in a live video literally just 2 days ago. And that was the inspiration of doing that live video where we looked at the basics of motors, the ESCs and propellers. And then we went through 16, 17 different examples, and we discussed different motor and prop and ESC choices for the different models. So Sean, big thumbs up to that one, and everybody else who was asking about motor props and ESCs, that's what spurred on that live episode for them to be covered as well. Let's have a quick look on the chat as well. Right, okay. Andrew Bolton says, what's the best way to keep water off a lens, not just Rain-X? Yeah, Andrew, we've spoken about this one. What I've done, and again, check out the Instagram page. I'll see if I can find it. There's a link to it in the video description to the profiles. Just stick that up on the screen. What I've done, and you can't really see on here, well, you can just about see it. Andy, what I've done with mine is that not only have I put goop glue all the way around the twisty bit on the front, is that I've also put goop glue all the way around the edges as well to try and keep the bloody water out. You had exactly the same issue as me when we were flying the other morning, is that as soon as we punched through the fog, is that we just had a fishbowl going on. And then when I landed, I was like, it's still a fishbowl, and the little Runcam Swift Mini, the water had just got into the lens, and that was it. It was just misted up, and you could see the little blobs of water in it. Very, very frustrating. So yeah, it's a multi-pronged approach, I think. Put Rain-X on the front to try and get the water past there, and then sealing up all the joints as well on the run cam to stop water getting in. And I've done it all the way around the back of the run cam. The only place water could now get into that run cam, which is on the mini talon, is through the power socket on the back. But even that's been sealed up on the top, and water would need to climb around and then go backwards on itself, which I don't think it's going to do. There's no reason for it to get to like a capillary action to go back. So goop glue or E6000 glue, and don't hold back on the glue, because it is friggin' frustrating to say the least. So good question there, Andy. Lucas says L9 or FR Sky L9R or R9M. Now 7 kilometers, okay, isn't very far in the scheme of things, and it's well within the range of an L9R. There's plenty of videos to prove that on YouTube where people have gone out to 10k and beyond with an L9R. And that's the thing, is that I know I'm a big fan of FR Sky kit. I've been very impressed with everything which I've used, and that's also the reason why I would never buy an R9. And the reason why I would never buy an R9, because basically it was a botched launch. There's so many bad experiences which have been posted out there. Why would I want to pay that much money for a questionable product when, to be honest, the 433 kit, like the orange stuff from Hobby King or the Wolf Box, say, from Banggood, is like half the price and works twice as good? I just don't get the logic behind it. So I will never personally own the R9 stuff. So a quick look. Does Andrew Bolton love men? If you don't know what we're talking about, go and check out a couple of Andrew's videos. There's a really annoying bloke in the background shouting that Andy loves men in the background. Zaysalt, I don't use 1.3, honestly. And you definitely would not want to go on to Banggood and type in 1.3 or 1.2 gigahertz and find their kits which they sell on there. Brendan says, where do babies come from? Now, babies come from China. Before we already knew this. There's my little baby. There's a Z84. We have a new baby on the desktop. That also came from China. Really? Moa says, hi Matt, thanks for all the great videos. One thing I would like to know is how to work out the best... Oh, that was the motors video. Again, that was it. We were off doing that one. That episode later that evening, and I'll quickly get that up on the screen, because if I... Oh, in fact, you just go back a video or two and you'll be able to see it. It was a great live event, because it was just one of those events which just stemmed from your reactions, from your questions. So we just did it live there and then, and I'll get back to the chat on there as well. Good morning, Dan, too. Andrew Bolton, obviously in retaliation to Dave's comments, is Dave Pennant going to be taking thrower lessons? And if you didn't know, Dave throws like a girl. And yes, Dave, we've seen many of your launches. A little bit more knacker would definitely help. Let's have a quick look. Is it better to bring wings and planes down under the hood or under line of sight? Now that's Dave's been in reply to that one. Yeah, I think Dave's hitting the nail on the head. It kind of depends not only on your personal preference for actually landing a model, the model itself, and also your skill set too. If I think about Sunday, was it Sunday or Friday? Might have been Friday, when we were all landing in fog. All three of us got models down, but then all three of us were quite experienced pilots, and we kind of knew what we were doing and what to expect when we were taking off. We knew what we were getting ourselves into, and we knew what the challenges were when we were coming back down again. But saying that is that it's quite easy. It depends on the circumstances. I will quite happily land a model FPV, and I'll quite happily land a model line of sight. One thing, which again, it's a topic which I'd like to cover separately, so I'll just give you like a hint on this one, is that it does also depend upon your experience and your flying sight, because if you think of like when we go to like the farm, the funny farm is that we can pretty much land anywhere. It doesn't matter where we land, including trees and hedges if your name's Austin, and it's okay. There's no biggie to that. Whereas that we go to the other farm, we've literally just got a thin, long, narrow strip, and it doesn't matter on which wind direction we're trying to land in. The goal is to try and get it on the actual strip itself, or to maybe land it into the hedge if the wind's a strange direction. So it is a great question, Nathan. It just depends, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Just be aware is that if you do lift the goggles off and you're flying by yourself, is that you are going to get hit in the face with some bright lights. So it might be worth making sure you know exactly where the model is in the sky, lifting off, slowly opening your eyes up and going grabbing the model and bringing it down. Anthony says, best prop for the stock F Wing one. To be honest, it is the... I used the AP 7x5. Did it come with a 7x5 prop? I didn't think it came with a 7x5 prop, if I'm honest, Anthony. I think that was... you've changed the propeller on that, and it definitely wasn't... And again, I might be wrong on this one, but just remember back to that motors episode, that was quite a high kV motor which we had in there, and I think it was a 6 or even maybe a 5-inch prop. So, Anthony... I may be wrong on this one, but go back and check the specifications on the F1 wing because 7x5 is definitely too big and you will be killing your speed controller for that motor. And again, I'm assuming that you've got the plug-and-play kit. Keith says, good morning, Dave, as well. Keith says, best setup for the AXN. Go for the plug-and-play kit. But just be aware that their speed controller, which Hobby King provides or has now continued to allow to be in the XN, is utter rubbish and should be thrown away immediately because it doesn't have enough current available in the back. And some of you may know the story behind that one. Darren says, are you ever going to do a long range series? We might discuss 433, but remember we do need to keep in the remits of what's available, what we're allowed to do here in the United Kingdom. Dominique says, topic again, batteries, graphene batteries. Don't bother with the Hobby King graphene batteries. They are just awful. They are, for me, have just been a complete waste of money. If you think back to the maiden episode of the Sidewinder, as soon as we throw it off, you just heard that battery sag into the ground. Now, obviously, I've abused them a bit, but I've had other batteries and I've done far worse to them than what I did to the graphene packs, and they've just fallen off a cliff. So, yeah. I land I set the battery alarm at 3.6 volts, but I will quite happily let it scream and cry its eyes out on the battery alarm for a minute or two later, and then bring it down. LIHV, if I remember, again, I might be wrong on this one, is that I'm pretty sure you just bring it down to 3.6 volts and that's the end of that one. It's the same as a normal LiPo battery. Kevin says, one baby. Good question. They are sat over there, and their little mini Twinzoo. They're sat over there in the box. The reason why they're sat in the box is because they kind of arrived at the time when I was getting myself into a really good groove with work. And they're part built, the wings are all glued on, the booms are on, they just need electronicals and some paint, and also laminating as well. So do look out for them some time in the future. You know, I'm not saying, I can't say they're bad models, I've just not got round to building it and finishing it. I've started it, just not finishing it. Same answer for you as well, Alex, to the comment about the long range stuff. Let's have a quick look. After stuffing the micro munter good and proper into a beach, good lad, Chris. What kit could I put the motor in? Z84? Yes, potentially the Z84 would be a good choice. The only thing is that if you were using a small, say, 2205 motor in the Sky Munter, is that you will need to put some padding blocks in for it to fit in the back, because otherwise the propeller will just hit the back of the model itself. So that's something you need to go careful of on that one. So a quick look at your chat as well. Mark says the F1 wing comes with a 6x45 prop. Thank you for that one. Skywalker Smart, I will get around to that one. It's sat in the, again, it's sat over there. I've got a bloody great big Skywalker, which we'll get to in a minute as well, which it's been here for since before Christmas, and I've just not got round to it. Hey ho. Right, if somebody was... It's not even going there. You can see that one on my screen. When is Nicholas Robus going to make the EPP Spitfire? And the same for the P51 as well, Nick. We're all here poking Nick. And the reason why we're poking Nick is he's the guy behind Itchy Thumbs. Quite active in the Ragnar Nuts off Facebook group. Makes the Stiffy Wing. Also the tiny little wiener model as well. And I think Nick is actually moving house at the end of the month. So... we should start seeing some progress on that very, very shortly. Why... David, I can't answer that one. Why do I never get time to fly? David, you make the time to fly, in short. So I'm very lucky. I have quite an understanding wife, so I go whenever I also work for myself as well. So any day could be a flying day if it needs to be. Will there be a Rag the Nuts Off event this year? I do need to go and speak with Andy later today. So Andy, if you're still watching, I will ping you after this and we'll have a quick chit chat because there's a few practical things for us to sort out, but it will be a go this year if that's all okay, and it will be over at the Funny Farm. So we've talked about it. We just need to get the wheels into action. I think the bit which is holding us back is actually toilets, which turned out to be very inexpensive, in short. So a quick look. Does a guy following your plane with a pair of binoculars qualify as line of sight? Andy actually answered that one. No, it doesn't. How do you mathematically calculate the CG of an airframe? If it's a flying wing, look back into some of the old RC Coffee chats. There's a C of G calculator, which is available on the internet. Very, very simple to do. Just put your measurements in and it will tell you where the CG should be. Also, it was Bruce did an episode a while ago when we talked about centre of gravity on a normal tailed model with a tail on an elevator and a rudder at the back, and he covered that one as well. The Maytech iNav, no, I won't be using it, in short. Number one, it's not available yet, although I did see someone turn up in the Facebook group with one of those boards this morning. Not interested in that, and the reason why I'm not interested in that board is because the normal F4 boards are much more available and will work fine for a lot less money. So why would I pay more for less? I don't understand the logic there. But on the flip side, it's great to see that Maytech are acknowledging fixed wing pilots as a viable consumer market. So thumbs up from that point of view. But unless it's cheap, I'm not buying it. And I've got a funny feeling it won't be cheap at all. Simon, Andrew Bolton's fog recovery method. People might have missed how to save an aircraft after you've flown in fog and can't find the ground. Worth a mention. Simon, absolutely no. You want to go and check. You want to go and Google or go into YouTube, look up Andrew Bolton's channel, and he does land in through fog. And that's the thing. What Andrew basically did is that number one, he's flying on instruments. He knows where his home is, where the landing spot is. And as he just punches through the fog, and the plan is always very simple: pull up when you see green, and that's the plan, and that's the way it is. You have to, depending on how fit the fog is, you have to punch through it. And of course, if it's very low-lying fog, you've got to be very quick on those sticks. So when you see green, you're pulling up, and Andy does a fantastic job of that. Let's not even answer that one. That post went downhill very, very quickly. Well done, Andrew. It's probably not publishable on the RC Coffee Chat, but I did laugh at some of the comments in there. Toshi says, which version of iNav is best? Anything which is not 1.9. Now, I got a bit of a slating in the video which I did a while ago about saying don't use the latest version of 9nav, and all the crybabies came out and said, oh, but if nobody uses the latest version, then nobody will be able to test it. It's like that. Well, that's fine. You risk your own models. I'll quite happily sit on version 1.7.4, I think, which I've got, which is going into that new wing, and it's going to fly great. Your model, you do whatever you like, but do keep in the back of your mind that N-1, so latest version -1, is a perfectly viable model, which many businesses use. In fact, if you think about it, many businesses still use Windows XP. And how many versions is that behind? Now, there's a reason why they're doing that. Stability is one of them. Upgrade costs is another. So, yeah, say what you like. 1.8 is the latest I would personally go to, but that said, I'm running down on 1.7.3 or 1.7.4 for my own models. It's your own model, do whatever you like with it, but just use some common sense. Being on the bleeding edge is not always the best idea, especially when stuff breaks, as we've seen from Painless 360's recent video. It's not always best to be on the front end, again, it's your model, it's your foam, and if you want to risk it, go for it. But I don't see the risk and reward is there, because the people which say that then don't put posts in when stuff goes wrong. They just post in the Facebook group and complain it doesn't work. Work that one out. Hey ho. Let's have a quick look. Have you ever played with a CC3D Atom, an arrow wing from Flight Test at night? Brian, I have used a CC3D, but that was in a quadcopter, not a wing. There's no point with CC3Ds now because it's basically defunct hardware-wise, and I've never built an arrow wing from Flight Test. Let's not go there on that one. Elijah says, are you ever going to do any wire cutting just to try it? I have thought about it. But then I've also thought I can't be arsed. And to be honest, I quite enjoy. You must have, Elijah. We've covered this topic before, but you know the same as me is that having a model turning up, which is almost pretty part built. You've got to be honest here. It's pretty much part built. Is so much easier for me to be able to get to the flight line quicker because I'm time poor. That's my issue. I have a limited, even when I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, granted I'm like asleep by 8:30 at night, but I try and get the most out of every single day, and even trying to do with what I do work-wise and trying to squeeze a hobby in at the same time. Scratch builds, like we saw about the Flight Test a few, no interest or very little interest to me personally, and that's because I am time poor. Obviously, if you've got more time than me, then the arrowing, I'm sure, is fantastic from Flight Test. How many of those do you think have been built and smashed and whatever else? They are very, very good models. They're just not for me because of my dynamics and the way in which I work. Right, let's have a quick look. Lauren, good morning. I didn't realise it was 1:30 there. Good morning, Sir Newton, as well. Thank you for joining us here live. And Brand says, I do like the E6000 fumes. Yes, if you're using E6000 glue, you definitely need to use that in a well-ventilated area, to say the least. Bernie says, I've gone back to the APM and Pixel. So, Bernie, I stay with the stuff which you know. If it works, don't. There's many sayings out there. If it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, if that's what you feel most comfortable with, stick with it. I personally, I love the Vectors. They're just so good, to say the least, on them. But on the flip side, they're very expensive. And also the Pixhawk. I've had Pixhawks here. I've actually given one of the 2.4.8 version away to Foam Dave, and the reason why I've given it away to Dave is because I just don't like RG-Plane. I just find the interface very frustrating. It's quite a big unit. It's just not for me. And I've always felt that the biggest downside for the for the Pixhawk is that I cannot believe that they've never included an OSD within their hardware. And then again, those guys are the ones which kind of like define the hardware. I did find it very, very confusing indeed. Right. Again, we just have a look at your chat as well. Zenith says, iNav kept crashing on me when I tried to change the center points on the zeros, gave up and ripped it out. Yeah. Well, specific circumstances. Right. Oh, there was a comment in there which I missed, and I know it was in there, and someone's deleted it because I got it here on my notes. When are you going to get to the Big Sky Hunter? I will be getting to the Big Sky Hunter as soon as I can in the next week or two. I've only got the electronics and the vector to go in, which is actually a bit of a struggle because of the way the wing is and the way it's got to sit in. And once it's in, it's got to stay in, and I've got to have a USB lead hanging out and stuff like that. So there's a few practical things which I need to sort out on that one, but I will get to that one as in the next week or so, in inverted commas. Right, it is time for us to wrap up. I am going to pause for a moment to have a quick slurp of coffee. What have we covered today? We had a quick intro. Oh, the giveaway winners. Jeff, Austin and Leslie will be in contact with you today on Facebook Messenger to get your addresses. So we've got 3 lucky winners. Also, like I said, there's another 4 or 5 potential items which will be given away in the next week or so in the Facebook group too. Do expect some stupid questions for those ones. I say stupid. Interesting one. The Sidewinder. We have waited a year for this one to come out, and to be frankly honest, it was worth a year for it to come out. Absolutely brilliant wing. Massive, I mean massive testament to Stuart Warren, who many of you know used to work at Hobby King, and his design abilities to create a wing like that. Absolutely bonkers. And the FPV fly, when do you see me struggle trying to say stuff? Fast. Absolutely bonkers fast. The community has voted. Apparently, according to you in this highly diplomatic vote, multi-rotors are crap. 59 votes, almost unanimous across the board. Yes. And there's a link to the Facebook group in the video description for you down below. Let's talk about new foam. Oh, yeah, the little free wing. I do like this. I do like it already. Like I said, I feel guilty on one hand of just going on and opening it up and getting all excited and then building it and not telling you. And then I don't feel guilty at all. I've really enjoyed it. So that's where my spare time has gone lately. It's gone into that one. And it's pretty cheap as well, so hopefully it comes in stock again so you can grab yourselves one at some point in the future. So yeah, I do like that one. But like I said, we always hold off final judgment until it flies. I will do some form of video on it before I go out and fly it, so you can have a look at it in the near future. Oh, we had an update on the Harrier as well. Taking the Vector out. I will just be keeping it for a tree basher. Sorry, I've got other models which I can use for flying around the FPV for a long period of time. So and it won't be that one. And as we've seen, the Harrier will take a smack and a half. And then today's main topic really was your questions answered. So I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who joined in within that post in the Facebook group. There were some fantastic questions in there. And also, just like from a personal level, I like the accountability. Someone's picked up the one baby in there, which is, I've got it here. It's here in the box. I just run out of time to try and get to it. And like I said, I'm not time rich. Time for me is a very valuable commodity. So I focus whatever my fancy goes on, and that's just kind of the way it works. So apologies for that if you know that there's a model here, maybe like the Skywalker Smart, for example. It's been here for a long period of time, and I've not got it out. It just hasn't garnered my attention to go on and build it. So happy days. Mac FPV says, what's your most preferred model? I'm actually going to pause and answer that one. It's a flawed question because it depends upon the circumstances and how I feel at that point in time and what I want to fly. I could quite easily say that the Z84 is the most preferred model because it covers so many. As a model, it could cover so many bases. The Mini Talent could also get a mention there. The Sidewinder would also get a mention there. It depends on what you want to do at the time. It's always such an awkward question to answer because there's other parts of dynamics to that question which are just too variable, if that makes sense. So good question, very, very difficult to answer. Right, and it is time for us to wrap up. So a tiny bit of housekeeping is, remember, if you have enjoyed today's advert-free episode, do me a favour, press the thumbs up. Links to everything which we've been uncovered is down in the video description underneath this video. Press show more. Remember, I try and keep this as transparent as possible. They will all be affiliate links where possible. So if you use any of those links, you will be supporting this YouTube channel. If you've not pressed the bell icon, and I found this out for Sir Newton's channel as well, is that if you press the bell icon, which is hiding above my head just there on the right hand side of YouTube, press the bell icon and then choose all next to it, because I found out that I was only getting occasional updates for Sir Andrew, and yeah, what can I say? On that note, from myself, Matt, a big thank you to you for taking the time to watch today's RC Coffee Chat, and I'll see you same time next week. Cheerios!